Okay, today I'm using my S033G. This is the S033G with the keychain camera. I'm going to show you how to pull this shaft out and flip the lower blade grips. And if this shaft is bent, which happens a lot when you crash, I'm going to show you how to straighten it out. Okay? But I'm going to be doing it on the Double Horse 9118. Which is basically a 9053, but it's a 2.4 gigahertz, great radio response. You can fly it for, I don't know, 200-300 feet in the air and not lose it. But I did lose it. My fault. Didn't have the high speed on the tail motor and lost it in the wind. And just put a new tail boom on it. And now I'm going to pull the shaft out. I've already did the blade grip, but a lot of people have been asking me detailed instructions on how to do the blade grip flip on the 9118, and I'm going to use the 33G camera to film it. So here we go. You can see these are all my helicopters. I buy them off the internet, and then I mod them, do tail mods, and then resell them. I guess they're not really considered new anymore. Once I mod them, they're considered a modded helicopter. But both of these, the S33G and the Shengma 9118, which is basically a Voltation 9053 with a better radio signal. It's 2.4 gigahertz system. Both of these are great helicopters. The S33G is a lot faster. Check out my videos. It's a lot better flying helicopter. It doesn't have the range because it's not a 2.4 gigahertz. It doesn't have the range of the 9118. But anyway, this is the 9118 that I'm talking about. Now, if you look how close. I've flipped this blade grip around, and now look how close the blades are to the canopy. I mean, they just barely clear the canopy. But the reason for doing that is these blades are so close together. When this is flipped around the way it's supposed to be, these blades in the air will hit each other like this and cause it to blade wrap and fall from the sky. Even with this flipped, it's still not enough. I'm trying to find a longer shaft from a different helicopter that'll work and give me a better blade distance. That's the way these SEMA, look at the distance on the SEMA S33Gs. I mean, geez. Look at the screwdriver. It's pretty much the length of the screwdriver, see? Yeah. Now look at this one. This one needs at least another inch to be like the 33G. Now I have another 9118 that I went ahead and see where the screws hold it. These screws are from the factory in the shaft here. Now what I done was dropped the blade grip. I dropped it all the way down to the brass collar, and then I drilled 2 new holes. But then I had to modify the canopy because this would no longer fit. So let me go get it, and I'll show you how I done it. All right. Be right back. Anyway, while I'm waiting, you can check out the lights on my 9118. I got these off. These are like engine pods off of the SEMA S032 Chinook. I just screwed them to the sides and and wired them into the factory light here. Really helps orientate it at night when you're flying, because it's got a nice blue light for the tail. So when you're 100 feet in the air, you know that this is the back. And with these, this is the front. Now, I had a wreck the other day, and my bottom light quit, so I got to replace that. But it really helps when you're way up in the sky. But when you get down below eye level, without these, you don't know front or back, so I added these so I'll know. But let me go grab the other 9118, and I'll show you two different ways that you can do the 9118. Okay. Alright. This is the 9118. Now this is kind of like, we'll call this Franken chopper. Okay. This one has a 9104 upper blade grip because the factory 9118 is plastic, you see, and this blade grip will break. Alright. Now what I've done was taken the blade grip from the 9104, which is basically this, but it has these blue aluminum plates, top and bottom, that go through here, and these aluminum plates help reinforce so that this doesn't break anymore. But it will break this shaft. Now that this doesn't break anymore, it's this head shaft that breaks. It'll just break the plastic right off. So I've ordered 3 of these in case. I mean, it has to be a bad crash to break this. Don't think that it breaks easy. I know I'm talking falls from 200 feet in the air. Or one time I was going full speed and I hit a tree with the blade being dumb and broke one. But I went ahead. When you have to order one part, go ahead and order 2. Same shipping costs, you know. But you can see here, I lowered this all the way down to the very brass collar. And by lowering that all the way down, now I'll put the little screwdriver on there and look. It's the same height, distance from here to here as the S033G. Because when you get these helicopters, I mount cameras on here, and when you get these bad boys 200 feet in the air, you're fighting some pretty good wind up there, and you do not want your fly bar hitting your blades. You can see where the fly bar has really hit the lower blades a lot. Now what I do is I bend these fly bars up. See how it's kind of bowed like a bow and arrow? So I bow them up like that, and it helps keep these from striking the lower blade. See, you don't realize when you're flying these helicopters, when they're in the air, these blades are flexing like this. This blade is flexing, and this blade is flexing like this. Okay? This bar isn't flexing. So when you get this blade flexing, and if you get too much wind, this bar will hit. And if you see my videos 9118 last on with camera on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. I blade wrapped it and then recovered, and then it blade wrapped again, just because I don't want to really mess up the cover on this one. But I had to use the 9104 canopy because it's low profile to keep the blade, because this blade, I can't use the 9118 canopy on here because it'll hit, because I've dropped it all the way down. So I put the 9104 on and then just used a zip strap through the frame to hold it in place. But now this helicopter, this is a lighter canopy. I've got the better blade grip on here. And next is I have these, I can't make them fly as fast as the S33Gs, so what I've done is I put an S33G tow motor inside the 9118 assembly. Now it's a lot bigger motor, and I had to cut the bottom out. You can see the motor hangs out. There's like a little protecting cage that goes here. I had to cut that out to use the 33G tow motor. I haven't put it on yet, but I will put it on, and I think it's going to make this a good street racing. And what I mean by street racing, I get them out on the street where they're about 2 feet off the ground, and I run them as fast as I can up and down the street. And it's pretty amazing how fast the S33Gs are. I'm just trying to get that out of the 9118s, which will make it a great outdoor flying helicopter. Another mod is take the screws out of your landing gears and use zip straps on your landing gears. By using the zip straps, when you crash, you don't break your landing skids. The zip straps break, and you can just put them back, use new zip straps and put them back on. But I'm doing this video because a lot of people want to know how to do the blade grip flip. So here we go. I'm going to show you. Now, right here in the side, they have a cutout in the frame. This so you can get to the screw to take the top blades out. Okay, we're going to take this top screw out. And make sure you use a good screwdriver, because you don't want to strip the head of the screw. Definitely don't want to strip the head of that screw. They put some kind of Loctite on the screw to make it come in and out hard. So if you try to take a screw out with one of these, it's probably not going to be good. You want something that's you can push in hard and not strip that screw out. So get a good quality screwdriver. I recommend something from like Craftsman or Snap-on. Don't use the cheap little black plastic screwdrivers they send you with the helicopter, because you will strip them screws out. Okay. Now once you've taken that out, you're going to pull the top blade, or the top blade assembly out. Now there's a little bearing. See this bearing? You don't want to lose that. So just pop this little plastic cap off, and that bearing is inside here, see? You just pop that little cap off, and we'll set that aside. Alright? Now, next is the, okay, we're just going to get this gear out of the way. Yeah. You can just kind of, well, actually, you can just leave it laying in the bottom down there. You don't have to take it out. Now, if you look, there's 2 more screws. Kind of hard to see in this light. If you look, there's a screw here, and then do a 180, and there's another screw in this gear here. Okay? Now, you can use a smaller screwdriver for those screws. They're not that hard, okay, and they're kind of fragile. The plastic they screw into will strip real easy. So I don't really take the screws all the way out of the plastic gear. I just unscrew them until the gear comes off. That leaves the screws inside the gear so that I don't lose them. Now, you're just going to, after loosening those 2 screws, I'm just going to pull this out. Now see how this bearing came off on the shaft? This is what I'm talking about. It goes, the bearing goes right here. Okay? So we're going to take this bearing off the shaft. Sometimes you got to kind of pull them hard. Be careful with these bearings, because they will break. Alright? So we got the bearing off, and we're going to put it back down into the frame. Just kind of push it down in there, and that's the bearing back in place. Okay? Now we got the shaft, and the only thing left is this brass collar. You're going to take the brass collar off. There's 2 screws. Once again, I don't take them all the way out. That way I don't get my screws mixed up and don't lose them. I just loosen the screws enough to where to slide out. And see how I leave the screws in there? See? That way I don't lose them. Now we're going to set that over here with these, okay? So we got the upper bearing, collar shaft. Now this is the blade grip. Let's see here. Get some of the stuff out of the way. I'm having troubles here. There we go. Alright. Now this is the blade grip. There's 2 screws that hold it in. Okay. When you do flip this blade grip, you're going to take these 2 screws out and flip it around. But before you do, go ahead and take the screws out that hold the blades in, and go ahead and flip the blades and put the screws back in, because it's going to be upside down in the helicopter like this. And it's going to be hard to get to the screws and flip your blades. So once you flip the grip, change your blades in, because it's going to be upside down, alright? But what we're doing now is this shaft is bent. I bent this shaft from a crash the other day. It was horrific. I'm really surprised that I was able to even find the helicopter. It was way up there. I really thought I was going to lose it in the hood. Now, this shaft is bent. So what we're going to do, what I do, is proper procedures would be to order a new one. But who wants to wait 3 or 4 weeks on parts, okay? So when you do order these shafts, go ahead and order like 3 or 4 of them, okay? Because eventually you can only straighten them so much, and they got to be replaced, okay? Now what I do is kind of clean up any burrs. I take my side cleaners, or side cutters, and I run them up and down. And if there's any burrs in there, especially around these holes, these will clean the burrs out so that the bearings and the brass collar will go back on there. Alright, now, if you'll roll this blade, let's put these blade grips. If you'll roll these blades on the table, you can see the unevenness of it. You can see where it's bent, okay? So what I'm going to do is I take and I put this on a wooden surface. I put it on a wooden surface, and you can roll it, and you can see the high point. See when I roll it? See that high point come around? Watch. So what I do is I'll put the shafts here. I take a rubber mallet. Okay? Let's see if I can do this without. Let's see. And I just take and on the smooth board, and I just use the rubber mallet. I don't hit it real hard, just roll the bar. And go up and down the bar. Just roll it on some glass, and you can see where it needs to be straightened more. Boy, that looks pretty good. Right there is still a little bend, so yeah, that looks pretty straight now. shut don't sound good. Only in the hood. Okay. Now, we've got the shaft straight. We're going to put it back together. Alright. Now remember, the holes on the bottom is where your lower gear goes, okay? So, you're going to put your blades on. Remember, the blade grip's upside down now. Now what I do to find my holes to get this lined up is I'll take one screw out of the plastic grip. That way you can push down until you can see the hole in the shaft through the hole in the blade grip, because it's really hard to get that screw in there and get it right. Alright, so I've got it lined up. Go ahead and tighten this screw up. Yeah. And you can see through the one hole all the way into the other, and we'll put the other screw in. These screws aren't very long, and they can't make them very long because there's an inner shaft that runs through this outer shaft, and you don't want them hitting. So they don't really tighten up that much because it's just plastic, but you can see the shaft ain't going nowhere, okay? Alright, next, you're going to put your collar back on. Tighten your collar up. Oops, my bad. Alright, there's a blade grip with the collar. Now the other one, the other 9118, I undone the screw and dropped it all the way down to the collar, and then took a really good drill and bit and drilled new holes, which give me about another inch drop. I don't recommend you doing that unless you're very experienced. This is about as low as you're going to get these blades on a 9118, unless you drop it all the way down to the collar. But if you drop it all the way down to the collar, then you got to drill 2 new holes and put your screws in. And this is stainless steel, so it's kind of hard to drill through. So you need a good drill and a really good quality drill bit to do it. Alright? And you put it back together. Make sure your top bearing's in here. Go ahead and sometimes you gotta kind of tap it just a little bit. See? Just tap it down a little bit. Now, when you tap it down like that, there's a bearing inside the frame. Make sure that you don't tap that bearing out inside the frame there, okay? I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bearing's there. See where that hole is? Right above it, the bearing's in that shaft. So, we know the bearing's good. Alright, now, we're going to wiggle, or should I say Chinese puzzle. You're going to put this top gear. Let me take this off. There. Alright. Now you're going to wiggle this gear up into place. You have to pull your shaft out a little bit. Oops, too much. Okay. Anyway, this gear there's 2 little gears that the big gear has to go into, see? So, put it in. Until it's in place. Now, all these holes are all clocked the same. So, well, this hole, and the holes for this gear are all going to line up, okay? So, once again, this lower blade gear, or the top gear is for the lower blades, and the bottom gear is for the upper blades. Don't forget that. Kind of funny, but anyway, make sure you get your screws in these holes, because you don't want this bad boy slipping. Don't try to force it. Go slow. and check that it's not turning. Okay, that's lined up. And you see the cutout, and this allows for your screwdriver to get in there and tighten these screws up. And they don't gotta be real tight, okay? Alright, now that's together. Now we're gonna put this is our top blade bearing set. We're gonna sit it back onto the shaft, push it down, and then just put the blade, make sure this bearing's in there, put your blade in, and it goes down. Okay? Now, there's a bearing in this gear. There's a bearing in this top gear. Here, lift this blade set up and pull this gear out, and I'll show you. Make sure that that bearing is in the gear, okay? Now, the shaft has, it's kind of hard to get the lower gear wrong. The shaft has a cutout. Excuse me. But it has a cutout in it to where this screw will fit in there, okay? So it's kind of hard to get it wrong. It really is. There we go. And then tighten up this bottom screw like that, and you're done. And that, my friend, is how you do 9118 blade flip mod, step by steps. Alright? See you later. Enjoy your own pieces of sky. This is Flintstone 810.